Hey guys, welcome back to an all new episode of a pro wrestling podcast with Matt and friends. I am your host, Matt Kozakowski, and alongside me today is the wonderful Aria Blake. Aria, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I am excited for my birthday tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. 30.
Hey.
Crazy.
Ooh.
It's crazy. Um,
hmm
so I'm excited to have you on here. It's funny because you're one of the only female wrestlers I've ever tried to create on wrestling video games. So it's really
Oh,
exciting to
thank
have you on here.
you.
I've been a fan of your work for a while, and I'm really excited to have this show go on. And you're my
I
first
love
female
that.
guest too, so it's awesome.
Oh, yay.
Let's get started basic. How old were you when you first got into pro wrestling, and when did you know you wanted to do it as a career?
I was in the beginning of ninth grade, I want to say. So I was 14. Yeah, 14 because it was the end of 2008. So that's when I got into wrestling. And I immediately knew it was what I wanted to do. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it took a few episodes. No, immediately I knew it was what I wanted to do because I saw a Divas match first. And they were just these beautiful, iconic women. It was, I believe, Maurice versus Michelle McCool with Maria as the special guest ref for the then Divas title. And I was just like enamored. I knew it. And like I was watching with my younger brother at the time. So like I would just started watching every wrestling show I could with him that was on TV. And just it was an immediate thing like I fell in love with.
Do you think that was the first? I know with like when Paige debuted and stuff, they talked about the women's revolution really starting. Do you think Maurice and Michelle McCool were the first two to really start it?
I guess like for me personally, yeah, because it like before that, I had only really seen like if a women's wrestler was on like a reality show or something, like how China was on like I think it was the Surreal House or something, or
Okay.
but that was all my knowledge of women's wrestlers. So like when I saw them, Maurice and Michelle and Maria, it was like, oh wow, like all sorts of women can do this. You don't have to be like necessarily a big bodybuilder and like just super jacked and all of that. So it did like kind of revolutionize how I felt about wrestling, I guess. But Paige definitely played a big part in how I feel women are seen now, like her and AJ Lee especially. So
Oh,
I guess
absolutely.
there can be different revolutions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always had Trish and Lita too, and do their thing back in the day, and yeah, for sure. I remember that match actually, Maurice versus Michelle. I think Maurice actually won that match. I'm not mistaken, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been a long time. Where did you end up training at, and how did you feel on your debut match? Because you debuted with Shine, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Kind of. So I to answer the first part, I started training at what used to be the Uproar Pro Wrestling Academy, and it's had a few different names since. It's been like the Lethal Academy, Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling Academy. Like, I honestly don't even know what it's called right now. I think it's the Wrestling Lab. I don't live there anymore, so.
Gotcha.
But I trained there under Jay Lethal, and then Angelina Love eventually started helping him and teaching alongside him. So I credit them as my trainers. That was in spring 2014 is when I started training, about like April or so. And then I debuted technically January 2015 in a student battle royal that we had on one of the Uproar Pro Wrestling shows.
Okay.
And it was myself and Aspen Rose were the only two women in that match. The rest were a bunch of dudes that were in the first class and the second class. And it was really fun. So that was my first debut technically. Then I had a tag match after that on a ACW pre-show. And then a couple months later, I had that match versus Aspen on Shine, which was supposed to be like a Sparkle showcase match, like pre-show, but I don't think it ended up being that. And yeah,
Because you ended
then
up winning your match on the Shine debut, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Now, have you ever been asked to wrestle for Shimmer?
Well, I did Rise, which was the like kind of like their little sister company. I did the first Rise show and another one when they came down to Florida. I was unable to wrestle at the time though, so I just ended up managing on that one. But yeah, not technically a Shimmer show, but that's literally on my list of goals I have, like for my wrestling return. Like that's at the top.
Now, so a question I've always wanted to ask someone is it a different feeling walking out of the curtain being a manager than a wrestler, or is it the same kind of nerves that you get walking out?
I feel I get more nervous as a wrestler, just because there is a lot more responsibility, I should say. Like you kind of got to be on your like toes as every second of the match. Whereas if you're a manager, like you know where you need to interfere here and there. You're not constantly doing something. So you have time to like interact with the crowd or whoever you're managing, commentary, whatever have you. Like it's a little bit more freeing when you're managing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Shine Wrestling a little bit. Shine is another sister company of Shimmer, if I'm not mistaken either. How was it working for them?
Very fun, very educational. I met a lot of women that like I had either grown up watching or like as I got into wrestling, like just knew I immediately wanted to wrestle them. Um, I really liked that it was also local for me. So it was really cool to just feel like, okay, this is like a hub of women's wrestling. And it's like just at the time, it was like a half hour away. So I really enjoyed it. I liked working with the Cutie Pie Club in the kind of later days of when I was in Shine. So
Absolutely.
that's honestly probably like a career like peak for me. Like not peak, like favorite for me. Like it was so fun. It was silly and it was organic and it was just I miss it.
Well, hopefully we get that again for sure.
That'd
Now
be fun.
your your spoiled brat persona. Have you always been a spoiled brat growing up when you were a kid, or was it just something you came up with as a gimmick?
I guess both. Like I had definitely heard it growing up for sure. Like either spoiled brat or just spoiled or just brat. So I mean, but I think I came up with it possibly like close to when I started tagging with Selena, and that's just what we called ourselves. But when she got injured, I was like, okay, well, I'll just be the spoiled brat. Like the other one's unable to even walk right now, unfortunately. So
Right, right.
yeah, it just kind of stuck. Like during our time as a tag team, I remember somebody said that she was more of the spoiled and I was more of the brat. So like I kind of lean more towards that side, I guess, but why not be both?
Right, that makes sense. How was it teaming with Selena De Renta?
The best. She's my best friend. So it was really fun. Unfortunately, injuries kind of like halted us and any momentum that we would start to get, it would just get messed up from my shoulder or her leg or something. And it was really fun though. We had really good chemistry. It was really fun just like training together, trying to figure out what moves worked for us, like partner moves or when we're tagging each other in, what should we do here and there, and planning our gear and cute girly stuff like that.
No, absolutely. I just watched one of your guys' matches and I forget who it was against, but it was actually a really awesome match. You guys ended up winning, obviously.
Thank
Um,
you.
but you guys had great chemistry, I thought, and I would love to see you guys get back in the ring together as a team down the road when you do return, obviously. Um, I think it'd be really fun. Speaking of tag teams, you did team with Kiera Hogan, as
Mhm.
you mentioned. So Kiera Hogan, how was that? How was teaming with her? How is the style with Kiera different than Selena?
They're both really good at being dislikable, I'd say. I guess bratty is a good way to put it. Like, I guess the difference would be Selena definitely leans into the jaw jacking, trash talking more than like anybody I know, probably. So she's constantly like this, whether it's in the corner or if she's in the middle of the ring or outside it or whatever. But and Kiera is a freaking workhorse. So she's able to do like move after move after move and looks great doing it. So I'd say they're both really similar, but not, you know.
Oh, absolutely. If you had to choose one between the two to team up with again, who would you choose?
I love them both, but Selena is my best friend. And I mean,
fair.
like we got merch. Like, I mean, we can pick that back up again a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Full Impact Pro, you've wrestled for them. Tell us about that.
That is another sister promotion of Shine under the WWN kind of network, umbrella network. I started there as a valet when I was like 19, like before I even started training. And that was not my favorite, but I mean, it got me in the door. Like literally, I was like, okay, I'm 19. The school wasn't established yet. I wanted to go to FCW in Tampa, but they were just closing to move to NXT in Orlando. So I was kind of SOL, and I just knew I wanted to be in the business anyway, anyhow. And I worked for FIP, and then I came back as a wrestler when I eventually finished wrestling school. You don't really finish it, but after I like debuted and everything. And I'd done so much different stuff there, really. Like I had been booed, I had been cheered, I'd been in different groups, I'd been by myself, tag matches, singles. It was really fun, and the crowd was always pretty good for them.
How does that feel though? Like, what would you prefer to do? Be a heel or be a face? Because you just said you got booed, you got cheered. So what would you prefer to be?
I absolutely would rather be a heel.
Absolutely. I heel work is always the best. I've talked about that
Mm-hmm.
numerous times with everybody, and it's funny because when I was first into pro wrestling, like I wasn't a fan of heels at all. Obviously you're a kid, so you got to root for the good guys, and MVP and Mr. Kennedy are the ones that changed the game for me. So the heel work is absolutely incredible. So
Mm-hmm.
I love heels anywhere you go. So that's why you're absolutely one of my favorites, for sure.
Thank you.
So I know you just mentioned not ever stopping to learn and always continuing even after graduating classes and stuff like that. I know you're with TJ. Has TJ showed you any of his skills in the ring yet, or is that something you're looking forward to when you get back into the ring?
A little bit, yeah. Like we haven't really had many opportunities to be in the ring together because we were in a long distance relationship like the first year. So like when I would come out to Las Vegas, we would be able to go to FSW and like work on some stuff here and there. But like then I got pregnant, so I wasn't really able to do anything. But I mean, like he knows so much and like literally everything in my opinion. So if I ever have a question on something, he's always there to answer it or offer advice or just really like be there in a wrestling sense too as a partner. It's interesting, but it's very helpful.
Oh, for sure. And TJ is absolutely one of the best professional wrestlers of all time. So you're very lucky to have him in your corner like that.
I know. And for that reason, like when we started to see each other, I was like, why do you want to deal with me? Like, I ain't shit.
He's a very lucky guy, and you're a very lucky girl. You guys have each other, so it works out very
Thank
well.
you.
Now you were in MLW as just a manager. You wrestled a match in a tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
but you were mostly a manager there. How did that feel being in a company like that wasn't fully evolved around women wrestling at the time? Now they are. They're starting to, at least. How is it being just a manager there?
So I love that they're like finally incorporating it into their programming and all of that. I'm glad that they have somebody like Dave Prazak working behind the scenes to make it just an incredible division, because like who knows women's wrestling better than him.
Yeah.
But being a manager, I mean, of course I like went to wrestling school to learn how to wrestle. That's my first love. But like managing, you still learn a lot. You still like, you know, you get your TV time here and there. The focus isn't directly on you as a manager, but when it is, it's fun. And I mean, like some of the best times were working with like MJF and Richard Holiday and Hammerstone and Joey Janela. And I really enjoyed like everything I did in MLW. Like I don't have any complaints. I would absolutely go back as a manager and or a wrestler or anything really. Like I miss wrestling. It's been so long. But yeah, you absolutely learn a lot as a manager too. You know, you're working alongside a wrestler, so you're there when they're hearing from agents and producers and during the pre-tapes and all of that. So I like it.
Oh, for sure. Do you think that's in the cards for you when you do return, is going back to MLW?
I haven't like officially spoken to anybody. I mean, like besides the congratulations on our child and all of that. But I'm absolutely not opposed to it, especially now that the women's division is becoming more of a thing. So.
Yeah. No, I would love to see that. Especially with the women's division pretty much everywhere being revamped. You know, you got Ring of Honor's new women division. You've got MLW starting their women division. Impact's women division is completely killing it. Would that be in the cards too? Maybe something with like Impact? Have you talked to them at all about possibly ever being there?
Before my pregnancy, I had spoken with somebody that's very important there. Two people actually, and it's something that would be a dream come true, but I'm not gonna rush right now. Like if I am lucky enough to get to go to a place like that, I want it to be like I'm on my A game, like I'm fully ready to wrestle, manage, whatever have you again. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it's in the cards if they're listening.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. And they keep we'll get them to get you for sure. I would love to see you on a mainstream television show, especially with MLW coming back to actual TV now. I think that'd be really cool. Watching women that you've been in the ring with, like Ariel Monroe, Big Swole, or Kiera Hogan or Shotzi Blackheart, and seeing them on the bigger screens, on the bigger showcases and stuff now, is that something you end up wanting to do, or do you want to stay on the indies?
I would absolutely love to be anywhere that they are. Like I think they absolutely deserve to be in AEW and NXT. I mean, who wouldn't say like, nah, I'm good. Like I would absolutely love to go to either one of them. However, I don't mind the indies. Like they're fun. They're not quite what they used to be. Like they're always like streaming or, you know, broadcasting on this network or whatever. So there's a lot more eyes on it now. It's not as small and obscure as people used to think it was.
Right. And especially with like IWTV, you have so many promotions on there, and it's insane with how much wrestling there is out there nowadays. You know, I've talked to so many wrestlers like JT Dunn and stuff like that, and we've talked about how, you know, there's so many wrestlers in the world that it's so hard to keep track of every single person out there and every single promotion. And little by little, you start learning more and more. Now, when do you think it's a possible time frame for a return for Aria Blake?
I have told myself hopefully by 2022. So maybe like the very beginning of the year. Like I still need to get out to school, get the ring rust off, like all of that, and kind of like figure out new gear, all of that. Like, not necessarily a full on reinvention, but like a revamp, of like
All right.
the spoiled brat. So
2.0.
yeah, pretty much. Like, I got some stuff to do first.
Oh, for sure. And I think we're all looking forward to that return. The wrestling world needs a spoiled brat, and the only one is you, for sure. Now, I seen your post that you posted a couple weeks back about comedy podcasts.
No, yes.
So,
dude, that got too much traffic to it.
Now, what are your top 3? If you could choose the top 3, which ones would you choose? That's a hard question. I know that.
I think I know the first 2. But I'm trying to think what 3 would be, because like I listened to so many. I listened literally every podcast I listened to. I think I got it. Okay. Should I do 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3?
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so at number 3, I would say the Tim Dillon Show. I am subscribed to his Patreon, so both like that version and the YouTube version. Number 2, I would say, this is so hard. There's 2 I listen to religiously, and one of them I just got done listening to like an hour before this podcast. Okay, I think number 2 is going to be Your Mom's House, and number 1 is Legion of Skanks.
Oh man, Tom Segura is absolutely fantastic. I love Tom Segura.
I do too.
Anything he does, his stand-ups are always hilarious. Do you watch a lot of stand-up too, or do you just listen to the podcast?
No, I do watch a lot of stand-up. Like, I recently watched Chappelle on Netflix and Shane Gillis's YouTube special.
I've heard some people complain about Dave Chappelle's. I have not watched it yet, but I've heard a couple complaints, but I've heard a lot of positives. So I can't wait to watch that. Sadly, I was a big Chris D'Elia fan until everything hit the fan last year. And then when he came out with his apology, and I was just talking to a wrestler who just came out of the Rhodes Academy, Chad Lennox, about this. We were talking about comedy and stuff. And Chris D'Elia, when he came out with that apology, like, I believed it. I mean, you could tell in his face that he was being 100% sincere. And it was very hard for me because before that, I couldn't watch his stuff anymore and actually enjoy it. And then he apologized, and now I can watch it again. And I'm like, thank God, because I need Chris D'Elia in my life.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. Like, I saw that as well. And like, I do listen to Congratulations. But like, I did have like a Life Rips hoodie. And like, when that all like happened, I was like, I'm going to see if I can sell this on Mercari. And I did. So, felt okay about that at the time. But then like, just, it's a sticky situation. I personally, one time, I think, replied to one of his stories and said, "spit in my mouth," and he left me on red. So I feel personally annoyed. But
that's awesome.
Left me on red.
Chris, what a jerk, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I was like, maybe like I should chill. And not actually respond to these people, because there is a chance they will see it.
That's so messed up. That's funny though. Now, who would you say your favorite comedian is of all time?
It used to be him, but like, I've since seen so much more material. Maybe Tom Segura. I'm not like, I only pretty recently, within the last 2, maybe 3 years, like, got heavily into comedy and comedy podcasts and stuff like that. So like, I don't really have a perspective on anything old. Like, actually, no, when I was in like maybe 6th grade, I started listening to like Dane Cook, and like, it was like more mild. So like, at the time, it was like, I guess, semi-appropriate for me. But then like, I just never really got into anything else until years later.
Oh, absolutely not. My favorite comedian has been my favorite comedian since probably 2007, and it's Kyle Cease. I don't know if you ever watched him or heard of him, but he's absolutely fantastic. He was in a scene of Not Another Teen Movie.
Mhm.
He was like the tour guide. I don't know if you remember that part in the beginning, or if you ever
I
seen the
don't even
movie.
know if I've seen that movie.
Oh man, that's a bummer. But yeah, his stand-up is absolutely hilarious. It's something I would recommend checking out. But Tom
Okay.
Segura, absolutely one of the best.
Yes, definitely.
But no, I'm a big fan of comedy. Comedy is, besides pro wrestling, it's my favorite thing.
Mine
Impractical
too.
Jokers, absolutely the best. I don't know if you watch that, but
I've seen it a few times, and I listened to Hey Babe with Chris Stefano and Sal Volcano.
yeah,
So
my brother
yeah, that's in
listens to
my
that religiously.
rotation. I love it, dude. They're so funny together. I think my order this morning, it's 10:30 here. So like at 6 a.m. my time is when YMH comes out. So I like started my morning with that. Then I listened to a little bit of Matt and Shane's Secret podcast and something else I don't remember, like a clip from Legion of Skanks that's coming out on Friday. So
Oh man.
everything's in the regular rotation. And I was listening to Chrissy Chaos.
So you plan your day throughout comedy podcasts.
Honestly, like that's how I kind of know what day it is these days because like I stay at home with the baby. Like I'm not like, okay, I have to remember this booking is on this day or I'm going out here on this day. Like I'm not doing anything.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so I'm like, okay, I wake up Monday. I'm like, okay, Two Bears is coming out, and then Bad Friends, and then Kill Tony, and then blah blah blah, and then Legion of Gangs. And then I'm like, all right, it's Tuesday. It's Chrissy Chaos. It's the Josh Potter show. It's all this stuff. Like that's literally day by day.
That's
So
awesome.
the
That's
weekends
awesome.
like suck because of that though. Like the weekends are good for watching wrestling, of course, but like if I'm like cleaning and doing stuff and just want to listen to something, it's a lot easier to do that with podcasts than it is like a wrestling show.
Oh, for sure. Do you listen to more podcasts than music?
Definitely.
Yeah. What kind of music would you listen to if you had to listen to music?
I'm not really sure how you would label it. Like I guess pop punk is what I listen to the most. But there's similar genres in there like post hardcore and I guess alternative emo-y music.
Who's your favorite pop punk band?
All time low.
All time low. Old all time low or new all time low?
Old.
Okay. At least we're on the same page with that one because I'm not a big fan of their
Mm-hmm.
newer stuff. Ever
There's
since like their third album, I'm not a fan as much.
I the one with the eye on it, Future Hearts, I think, is the one where I was kind of like, man, like I like some songs on it, but I didn't go out of my way to listen to the whole album.
Yeah.
And then they kind of lost me on Last Young Renegade, I think it is.
Yeah.
The one that has like the anime cover, I think. Um, but then like on Wake Up Sunshine, there's a few songs I really like and singles here and there. And but like that old stuff is always gonna be my favorite music, like period. Like I started listening to it in 8th grade. Like they're the first band I became like obsessed with, and
Me
I've
too.
seen them countless times.
Yeah, no, the one and only time I was supposed to see them, I got really sick, and unfortunately, I couldn't go to their concert, so I was kind of bummed. But that was the first pop punk band I was obsessed with too, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, their
Mm.
original stuff was absolutely fantastic. I remember I was in a pop punk band back in high school, and we did one of their covers from their Nothing Personal album, and
Oh, that's fun.
it was awesome because it still had upbeat songs to it and it was catchy, and there was a lot of people that hated it at first, and now that their newer stuff is coming out, people are like, yeah, that album wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I think that Alex personally feels like I think it was Dirty Work was like his least favorite, and I'm like that really wasn't bad.
No, it was good. I thought it was okay.
Like yeah, like I didn't have any complaints about it.
Wow, people did, unfortunately, and it's very
Yeah.
upsetting. If you had to choose a more modern day pop punk band, if you listen to more modern day, who would you choose?
Hmm.
I'm sitting here hoping you say State Champs, but
Yeah, I do listen to them for sure. I do. I mean, I'm gonna see because I actually don't know. I'm looking at my playlist right now. Pop punk, Neck Deep.
okay.
Um, there's like older things on here everywhere or heavier things.
Now, when
I
you
don't
say
know if
heavier,
we're
who are you talking about?
let's see, like Bring Me the Horizon,
Okay.
Baby Metal, um, Pierce the Veil, which not that much harder, but Poppy.
Pierce the Veil was absolutely fantastic. I wish they would come back with more
Mm-hmm.
music, but
I do too. The Used, Forever the Sickest Kids, Zeta Remember,
always good
Machine
bands.
Gun Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly's pop punk album was really good. I was very surprised
Surprisingly.
about that. Yeah. I probably listened to it on repeat like 5 times.
Yeah, I have a few songs from there on here. The Cab, they're from Vegas. I live here.
I
Um,
it was cool because the Cab was my favorite band for a long time. And I went to a Warped Tour probably in like 2009 and I met Alex, their lead singer. And it was the coolest thing, man. Like coolest thing. And it's
I
very
also went
upsetting
that year.
because you went that year.
Yeah.
It was so awesome though. And there was rumor last year or earlier this year that they were supposed to be coming back with a new album. But
Ooh.
I don't know if it's true or what. I wasn't a big fan of their EP, the last thing that they released, but all their
Mm-hmm.
other music has always been fantastic.
Yeah, like I really got into them like with like Take My Hand and like I'll Run and those kind of songs and Bounce. I really like that song and I like the music video with all the paint splatter everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
Um, yeah, I wouldn't mind if they came back. I wouldn't mind if Forever the Sickest Kids came back or The Academy is. Like there's so much good like old like teen kid music that I miss.
Oh, I just posted on Twitter yesterday or 2 days ago talking about how I wish Every Avenue would come back. So I
Yes,
get
them
it.
too.
I get it. They had a reunion show 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something like that. And I went because I went to their show in 2012 and that was their last show. And they played in Chicago, and that's where I'm around. They played in Chicago last show, and it was so heartbreaking because they were one of my favorites. And then my brother sent me this picture of this poster that said "We're back," and I like flipped out. Like I was like, "This is the coolest thing." And
Mm-hmm.
we went to their show, and then they played another show after Warped Tour ended. They came out with that Sad Summer Fest. I don't know if you heard about that or not, but it
I think so,
started.
yeah.
It's only been in a couple cities or whatever, but Every Avenue played the one in somewhere in Michigan because they're from Michigan,
Uh-huh.
and they had 2 shows that year, and that was all they played, and it was awesome, one of the best. But Forever the Sickest Kids, fantastic. I
Yes,
wish they would come back too. Um,
I do too.
what album of theirs is your favorite if you had to choose?
Uh, Underdog alma mater for sure. However,
Absolutely.
I owned the one after that that like I forget what it was called, but the cover was them like on like stair steps at a school. I think like jumping off of it or something, and it was like kind of reddish.
It was like the
Um,
6-song EP, right?
I think so. Yeah, I bought that at a show of theirs I went to. So
I'm
I
gonna look that
physically
up
had
really
that
quick.
one, but yeah,
Yeah, no, what was
I
it
am
called? The
too.
Weekend. It was called The Weekend Friday. That's what it was called.
Yes,
But absolutely fantastic. Hip Hop Chick was my favorite song off that album.
that was fun. I need to see like what was on there.
They had a couple good ones. It was that one, and then they had Do or Die, and then She Likes Bittersweet was a good one too.
Yes, that one I remember. I can only find stuff from their third album and their first album. Like nothing hip hop chick came up, but
I was a big fan of all their albums. It's one of the only bands that I've liked every single album that they released from. Every avenue, every single song that they had was absolutely fantastic, though. So you can't go wrong with that one for sure.
mm-hmm. Yeah, like I wasn't like obsessed, but like all the songs I did hear, I was like, I like this, I like this, I like this. So like my obsession has always been all time low.
For sure. You can't go wrong with them. Their EPs,
No.
their first two EPs that they came out with were the best.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is it being a stay-at-home mother?
It is an adjustment for sure. It's nice just being able to be with the baby whenever I want, pretty much. But I mean, I do miss wrestling, and like the nice thing is TJ and I have like a schedule where he's up with him during the night, I'm up with him during the early morning, and we're both awake during the afternoon and the evening. And like during that time, if one of us needs to take a nap or whatever, the other's awake. So like there's always eyes on him.
Oh, for sure.
And we kind of just can bring him wherever we want around our house. Like we've brought like our bassinet like down to our gym, and like we've had like different pillow setups for him on like the couch and a swing and all of this stuff. So he's always with us, and it's really fun. Like I like it. It's very fulfilling. It feels like kind of like with wrestling, how I was like, okay, meant to do this. Like that's how I feel about motherhood, meant to do this. Like
Yeah,
it kicks in very naturally, and it is very fun to do it with my best friend too. So
that's so
I
cool.
like that. I already want more kids, but like, and I miss like being pregnant, but I'm like here and there, like I'll be like, okay, I really miss it. I don't know. Like I do want a girl child, so hopefully that's next in a few years.
Oh, absolutely. Are you guys looking forward to your first Halloween with him?
Yes. Luckily he is here that day. I think it's a Sunday, so he doesn't have any shows or bookings or whatever. So we'll
Sure.
definitely take a lot of cute pictures. He has like 4 Halloween outfits. He has 2 different ones, I think, that say my first Halloween, and then like a pumpkin onesie and other stuff. Like one of them is, I think, from Jessica Havoc and Sammy Callahan. It's like
That's so cool.
got stripes on the sleeves, and it's got Jack Skellington on it. It says my first Halloween.
That's
And
awesome.
I just hope it fits him because he came out very tiny. So
That's awesome, though.
he's
I'm
a
so
small
happy
bean.
for you guys. He's the cutest little baby, man, for sure.
Thank you. I agree. I'm glad like we make cute kids. Like I wasn't really worried about it, but I mean like seeing that manifest is like, wow, we're good at this.
Yeah, no, he's so friggin' adorable, and
Thank you.
how old is he now? Like 2 months or a month, or it's only a couple
Um,
months.
yeah, he will literally be 7 weeks tomorrow. Oh, that's my alarm to feed the pigs later.
Oh, I forgot you guys got pigs too. TJ told me about that during our show.
Yes, they are downstairs in their room. Like they have a whole ass floor pretty much, and like go in and outside, and they eat their breakfast around this time.
For sure. But no, I mean, being a stay-at-home mom, having a newborn, that must be really a cool feeling for sure.
Yeah, it's the best. Like I have him, I have 2 dogs and the 2 pigs to take care of, and just general house stuff. But like it's like there's also nothing I would rather do really.
Is it
Like
hard
I
to
love
do when
it.
TJ's on the road?
It can be, but like he is so hands-on. But when he is home, it's like, okay, he's been traveling. This is his only time to get a ton of stuff done. Like whether it's like, okay, I have this errand to run, I need to meal prep, I need to do this for the pigs, or do podcast, or speak to this important person, like all this adulting really.
For sure.
But yeah, he is really great. Like if I ever have like anything, like if I'm like, okay, I need to go, like the other day, like desperately needed to get my roots done, he was able to watch the baby and it was fine and all that. So like taking turns helps, but when it is just me, it's slightly harder. I am waking up more. Like I said, TJ takes the night shift, so I am able to sleep straight at least for like 4 or 5 hours every night, hopefully longer. But I mean, it's got to be done. I knew what I signed up for when I started dating him.
Right.
I knew that this would be a thing. Like, it's not a surprise. And I mean, like, eventually, like, I'll be able to take on more bookings. Like, not as many as him, of course, but like, he'll be able to experience that himself. Or like,
Slowly
I'll
but
just go see my
surely.
family in Florida, and he'll have to deal with it.
Right. No, and as far as bookings go, we can't wait to see you back in the ring. I personally
Can't wait
can't
to
wait
be
to see
back.
it. So I can't wait to see what kind of gear you come back with and stuff like that. It gives me something else to create on wrestling video games.
Yes, I have so many ideas right now. I kind of want to do a one piece because I've only done that one time before, and it was when I was tagging with Selena. And
Yes.
that was really cute, and it was so much easier to wear because like I've had like the band in my shorts break like right as I'm about to go out the curtain, and it freaking sucks.
Oh,
So
for
like
sure.
if I just have one whole contraption, it's a lot easier.
Oh, I bet.
And like, yeah, and it can be like a throwback kind of. And I got to figure out like a style though. I'm like, okay, I need an accessory either on my arms or like entrance attire. I need to figure out my kick pad and knee pad situation. Like, do I want to get actual wrestling boots or stick with the wrestling shoes that I have? Like, I don't know how much revamping I want to do, but like, I want to do as much as I can.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, it's going to be an awesome journey when you get back, and we can't wait to see that. Aria, do you want to tell the fans where they could find you at on social media?
So my official social medias are mostly the Aria Blake. That's my Instagram. It is facebook.com/the Aria Blake. Twitter's different. It's I'm Aria Blake. I am Aria Blake. OnlyFans.com/the Aria Blake. Patreon.com/the Aria Blake. TikTok is the Aria Blake. There's a lot of them, and there's also a lot of people pretending to be me. Do not fall for them.
Well, I always make sure that if somebody posts and says like, hey, block them, I got you for sure.
Yes, it's annoying. Like, it's weird.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Leave
hey,
alone.
you're doing something right when somebody's trying to be you. So.
I guess, but it's creepy.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We don't want any
Knock
of
it
that kind
off,
of
y'all.
stuff. There you go. Exactly. Knock it off, y'all. All right. Aria, I appreciate you being on the show. It's been really fun getting to know you and getting to chat with you for a while.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said, I can't wait to see you back in the ring, and keep posting pictures about James. We love seeing him.
I will. Yes, definitely.
You guys have a great one. Till next time, guys. You guys have a great one.